Hi, hello, my name is Oly Bliss and this is my channel Bookdraw. For those of you who don't know, I enjoy looking at queer fiction and occasionally I create little images out of it. Today I am doing an incremental haul and that's because I actively have resisted from purchasing books recently. But then I realised I've completely and utterly failed at that. But also, this haul is incremental in the fact that other people have been really kind and given me books, and books seem to have materialised and just been drawn to me in a magnetic kind of way. And I was just like, oh, actually, collectively, I've actually got quite a lot of new books, because usually I will just go and I will have a list of a few ones which I really want or really need in my life, and kind of get them as a bunch. But this has happened since, when was the last time I kind of did this? Was it April time? Yeah, so it's kind of happened up until that point, and I was just like, they're growing, they're multiplying. So I just thought I'd share how those have come together and which ones they are and where they have come from. So the first one is Your Own Private Universe, which I actually ended up getting in a little bookstore at a train station in Birmingham, because they had a nice little display with lots of lovely LGBT books, and I just thought this is really cool and pretty. But then when I read the back of this one, so sorry, this is by Robin Talley. It features a 15-year-old character called Aki, and she forms an interest in Christina. But Christina has a relationship with a boy, so there seems to be a bit of bi-visibility going on within this. And I was actually like, I haven't read many female-related, bi-related characters, so I thought I would give this one a go. And also, I quite like a bit of teen romance and drama, and it feels like a kind of summery read. It looks a bit like a summery read, so I'm up for giving it a go. So the next one is Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, which is a 1855 collection of 12 poems, I believe. So very skinny and slight, and part of the appeal for why I picked this up. But someone at work actually had this, and I asked them if I could borrow this book, because it's a collection of poems which I've never got around to reading, but is often referenced in other areas of queer-based art and lit. So in terms of David Hockney, he refers to We Two Boys Clinging Together, which is and The Two Boys Kissing by David Leviathan. I kind of have these references which are linked to Walt Whitman, and so I kind of want to know what all the hype is. He's kind of one of the early known male-on-male kind of focused writers over in America, who's kind of more publicly facing, I'd say. Is that the right kind of phrase? I don't know. But yeah, so he was quite prolific, I should say, and known in different ways for his love letters. So I'm curious to know more about his actual work. So the next one is Matthew Todd's Straitjacket, Overcoming Society's Legacy of Gay Shame. And so when I did this Gwendolyn Gallery Week's residency, one of the people who I was speaking to said that this book really helped them and really changed their framework and how they saw mental health and how they saw their relationship with their sexual identity and how other people were interacting with them, whilst they were also suffering with anxiety and had been suffering from depression, and how this book actually helped bring them out of some of those elements. And so I was like, well, that sounds fantastic. I really want to know which book did that, so that is this one. The next one, also, while I was on that week's residency, I stepped into an Oxford charity shop, and Grasshopper Jungle by Andrew Smith was there available, and because it was nice and cheap, and it's so pretty as a cover design, but also because I've heard this is quite messed up and wild and strange, because there are these horny, hungry, giant praying mantises storming the world. I was just like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give that a go. Basically, it just sounds bizarre, but I'm up for the trip. The next one, which I'm looking at, is To My Transistors, which has been edited by Charlie Craggs. So this is a collection of 80 or more letters to the next generation of male to female trans based women who are just growing up and learning about the world and how they sit and feature in the world, because Charlie wanted to write something which she would have had at that age and been able to feel some comfort with. And so this is positioned or voiced to help that next generation of women, which is lovely. But also I think through that, as an outside reader, someone who is cisgendered like myself, it's just interesting to build a level of empathy and understanding of their perspective and what they're going through, and what types of barriers they're going to experience, and how they feel they are received by the world, and how they fit in the world and how they don't necessarily fit, and how problematic that can be, and the kind of struggles that they're actually dealing with through that process. And because I've already said this, but it's worth just saying again, it was lovely going to the event because they had 4 different people reading. And what was also nice is they were from very different perspectives, from very different backgrounds to each other. And they all had something to say which was both unique and distinctive, but also there were universal things in there which were incredibly relatable to anyone. And I think that is going to be the kind of tone that this is in. But also listening to Charlie speak, who edited it, had this opportunity. She just wanted people to be able to write their truth, and she was like, I don't mind if you're swearing in it, I don't mind if I don't agree with the content of it. And she had to kind of fight for keeping some of the things which she felt was a bit problematic, but they were other people's truths, and she wanted that full representation of what these women were saying across the world, because they're from so many different places, because she wanted to be able to get that snapshot of what different women are saying, and I thought that was brilliant to try and achieve that. So I'm very, very excited to read this one. This is kind of a hot priority for me, I think. The next one, and I feel way behind, I think this is one has really been doing the rounds on BookTube, but it's Reservoir 13, which is Jon McGregor. It was the Costa winner for 2017. I still haven't read it yet. And this is actually a friend's copy from work, and she handed it over to me, and actually was surprised that it was the winner, so that was interesting. And I'm up for forming my own opinion on this, whether or not I agree. The next one, it was a impulse buy in terms of when I went to the event for To My Transistors, but this is Adam Grant's Originals, which is how the non-conformists change the world. So it's got a collection of different essay type stories, I think, in terms of different people, how their kind of resistant or interventional thought processes pardon me, have sparked something new and original or change, and I just found that incredibly interesting and kind of exciting, and also it had a lovely rainbow in the background, so I was like, yeah, cool, I'm up for that. The next one I picked up as well was The Second Sex, which is by Simone de Beauvoir, I think how you say her name, not entirely sure, apologies. On the back it says Vintage Feminist, which I love. What is a vintage feminist? But it's introduced by Natalie Hines. Alright. But it's introduced by Natalie Hines. I recently read a little history of philosophy, and through the different people that it was introducing in terms of their concepts, some of the things that Simone was saying I latched on with, and I could see her perspective, and she quite stood out to me. And when I saw that this was just available and quite small, I was like, yeah, I wanna take that and give it a go. So that's that one. And then finally, and most excitingly, I have a copy of Night Soil, which is a novel, advanced, uncopy edited edition by Dale Peck. Now, if anyone has ever seen any of my channel before, you will know how much I love a bit of Dale Peck. Particularly the book Martin and John, or Martin. That is my all-time favourite book, and I haven't seen him write much recently, so this was incredibly exciting. But this was lovingly sent over by Russell from Ink and Paper blog, and he got me a signed copy, which is just such an amazing little surprise. But this is a novel which is about art, genius, capitalism, and the uncomfortable, full of pleasures of the unbeautiful and the broken, from the only genius I know who could write it and live. And that was a little anecdote by Alexander Chi, author of The Queen of the Night. But I am so surprised and excited, because I did not know this was on the horizon, and I am just thrilled to have the opportunity to be reading this earlier than other people. It's everything you never knew you could possibly want. The glee of being able to get a first look at this is just, it's just delightful. So I have just been fanboying all over this this afternoon. Just literally opened it up when I came in from work. So I am just thrilled, and thank you so much, Russell, for sending this over to me. It was just such a welcome, unexpected treasure that you've given me. Really, really, really lovely. So thank you so much for that. And I just can't wait. I literally just can't wait for this one, and I will be telling you all about the joy of this book. Anyway, those are all the books that I have incrementally hauled recently. I hope that you have enjoyed them, and if you have read any of them, which other ones should I be prioritising outside of To My Trans Sister and Night Soil by Dale Peck, because those two are definitely top priority. Below that, where should I be heading to next? Anyway, take care of yourselves. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Alright, bye!